Hello, Speed Gaming 6. Welcome to today's ALTTP Randomizer daily race, and we are featuring Overworld glitches. And we are featuring two runners who are currently in a glitched mentor tournament. So they are learning Overworld glitches, normally with the help of a mentor, but in this race they will be on their own and showing off what they have learned. So we're starting with both runners in Link's house. They'll be exiting, and you might see them diverge already, just from what you're used to seeing in no glitches. People can check, for example, the Hylia Island. They can actually get it right now if they wanted to, and then they could also go to the bridge and get that item. You can already see two different methods for getting this bridge item. High Ruler is doing a fast method, but actually is a little bit too high and will... Oh, that's surprising. We'll have to save and quit and try again. Normally when I see that happen, they don't get to land, and they have to wait a long time to come to land, so it's nice to see that he was able to save and quit right away. Simple Clips is actually the first person to the bridge, having taken the slower route, but not failed, so gets it before High Ruler does. Oh, right, look at this. High Ruler is swimming out of the bridge, which is a sign that he is going to try something that's a little bit risky routing-wise. This is going to get him to Ice Rod Cave and eventually to the waterfall and Zora Ledge. But what this does is it gets you to Zora Ledge without having any money for Zora. Unless he finds 300 rupees, he is going to have to find another way to do Zora later if it ends up being anything. Simple Clips is taking a more standard route through the world, going across Bonk Rocks, checking Lumberjack, and going through the Lost Woods. There will be a bit of a choice for Simple Clips to make once he exits Lost Woods to see if he wants to go up the mountain straight away or go to Kakariko Village. I couldn't actually see what was on Lumberjack, so if anybody caught that, let me know. A ruler already rewarded with the lamp in Waterfall Fairy. That is in logic. So water walking is in logic for getting these checks. And High Ruler is, in fact, able to do dark rooms in logic. Now, at this level, you usually see people just do them anyway, but it's good to know. Follow your logic. Meanwhile, Simple Clips found the Cane of Samaria in the Lost Woods. And chooses to go south to Kakariko Village. Having a little bit of cash and a little bit of bombs coming in here is ideal. You have so many options around the world that you don't have in no glitches that it definitely pays to at least put this off until you have the resources to do it in one go. Now, if you want to get really fancy, you can put it off for quite a bit longer. You can do a ton of light world checks. You can even go into the dark world and put this off. You would miss out on that hook shot that Simple Clips found in Blind's hideout. So, you know, it's not always wise to put off such a dense early location. That ruler is coming around the other direction, which makes me wonder if he intends to go up the mountain from here. It is looking like it. Simple Clips is faced with one of the hazards of doing Kakariko too early, which is not enough money for the bottle merchant. He only had 20 rupees going in, and apparently didn't find any in chests, so he had to farm a little bit, and it still wasn't enough. You need 50 rupees to get the bottle merchant if you're also picking up every pot in Blind's hideout and Kakariko Well, and it just wasn't enough for Simple Clips. Needed more than 20 that he had. High Ruler is doing a clip to get up the mountain. There's several ways up the mountain. This is one that gets you to the top of the mountain, so you can do Hera first. Simple Clips has found the two swords and the hookshot in Kakariko, so he will be at an advantage when he gets here. He'll be able to do Tower of Hera a lot more easily. High Ruler will probably just go straight down the mountain and do Old Man, especially with that lamp that he found. And we also have a bow on the bottle merchant, so it was worth farming for. Which apparently Simple Clips just found a 300 here, so got bailed out a little bit. Didn't have to farm too much. Alright, so Old Man rescued for High Ruler. It's usually one of the earliest things you do because you have instant access to the mountain. Mountain can be quite dangerous though on 3 hearts. Simple Clips found 3 hearts in the village, so he'll be a little bit safer when he comes up here. Worth noting also that you can go straight to Desert from Maze Race. Desert Interior is a Sphere 1 location. To actually get to the boss, of course, you will need Fire Source, but you don't need a glove. You can clip past those rocks quite easily. Alright, so High Ruler, having gotten Old Man out of the way, has decided that 3 hearts and nothing but the lamp is not enough for Old Man, or for anything else on the mountain, so wisely going into Kakariko to pick up the 2 swords and hookshot that are here.
Hello, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what the technical difficulty was, but I'm here now.
Alright, JD is my co-commentator for today. They were sorting out some technical issues, but they were here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Enjoying watching our racers not only play mentorless, but also play without the start sword that they're used to having in the first 2 weeks of the Glitch Mentor Tournament. The Mentor Tournament that they're running is a special winter event that we put on about every other year. This is the second time we've done it. First time was just Overworld glitches. That was kind of all there was, but now there's a whole bunch of new modes you can play. This one will go up to hybrid major glitches, which puts some underworld clipping in logic. So you might see some of that hopefully on speed gaming later when that time comes. For now, we are just doing overworld clips in the overworld that they have been trained on.
Yes, it's really great to see new runners trying new things, and yeah, when I first started doing overworld glitches, it definitely was a little bit of a challenge to not have a sword for certain clips, but it seems like they do not have that problem anymore.
Yeah, I haven't really explained why the sword is good. There's a few reasons. One of them is you can use spin speed to clip through small terrain, like thin railings, the ones that you see on Death Mountain. Also, you'll see like High Ruler spinning the sword at the end of this clip. It's not just because that the sword was out, but also because the spin gives him a chance to buffer a diagonal input. Because the diagonal does have to be perfect, but you can just hold it and let the sword spin, and when the sword is done, it will activate on first frame. If you don't have a sword to spin, you have to do other buffering methods, like slashing. Slashing doesn't give you nearly as much time as spinning. If you really needed to, you can menu as well. But there's something quite nice about just the natural consequence of clipping where you have your sword out. Is your sword will spin at the end, and you can use that for an easy teleport. The Fire Rod for simple clips in Mini Moldorm Cave. Simple clips will probably do all of South Shore here. High Ruler has actually already done everything except Zora beyond Mini Moldorm Cave, so I'll be able to just save and quit out of there.
So where do you think our Moon Pearl is going to be in this seed?
Moon Pearl has been very naughty lately. I've been seeing a lot of Dark World Moon Pearls in the Mentor tournament. There's a lot of places it can be that you might not expect. Most of them locked by the mirror. You can do some pretty, pardon the pun, simple clips with the mirror to get into the Dark World, and then you can mirror Super Bunny to get to things like C-shaped house. Turtle Rock is another option. You can do all of Turtle Rock from the middle, and you can get to the middle just with a mirror clip.
I guess I need to watch more of this Mentor tournament, because the ones I saw, they had really easy free Moon Pearls, and it was not very exciting in that regard. It's kind of interesting to watch people who aren't used to it, like, navigate the Dark World, like, without things they're used to, like the Moon Pearl, for example. There's some somewhat obnoxious locations that are possible in glitched logic, but I think it makes the game more interesting and more fun. It's certainly more fun to watch, at least.
It's really fun to see people route in these Dark World checks. It's really common to just like save them for last because they're slow. But there are ways you can be clever about it. For example, if you know that Super Bunny Cave can have your Moon Pearl and you have the mirror, and you haven't done East Death Mountain yet, you can actually go there first and leave your portal outside after doing Super Bunny Cave. And if your Moon Pearl turns up, then you'll be golden on your Dark World opener from the mountain. Yeah, I feel like I've seen Dark World Moon Pearl happen a lot to a very specific person. I don't know if it's everyone or if it's just one person who's cursed. They are currently in chat complaining about it. But it is something you'll learn to appreciate once you are used to it. You just add those locations to your, like, oh yeah, Moon Pearl can be here things. And you think, oh, it's just bad that Moon Pearl can be there, but at the same time, you pretty much never have Aga seeds, so there is a trade-off. You can avoid Aga in any seed that doesn't have something on Lumberjack.
Yes, that's a very good point, and it's interesting that you brought that up, because that's actually the reason I started learning glitches in this game, is because every time I played a regular open seed, it was an Aga seed, and it was honestly pretty obnoxious. Nobody wants to do Aga Tower.
I've been told that Aga is required for Dark World in about 1/3 of seeds in normal open, and that's a lot worse odds than Dark World Moon Pearl in glitch mode, so I think we win on that count. If Dark World Moon Pearl is like your equivalent of an Aga seed, we're still better off. We already have more Light World available to us, like the East Death Mountain just being Spear 1. Whereas you need a whole bunch of stuff for it in no glitches. Alright. Simple clips, going to Eastern, which makes sense. You got bow and you got lamp. I didn't catch the map check, so if anybody knows, feel free to put that in chat and I'll throw it on the tracker. But we do know Eastern's a crystal and Desert's a crystal because both of them are in there and they've got that indicator on the corner.
There's some interesting strats from Hyrule on Landmo. The Samaria block, but he gets it done. That is the first crystal for these runners, so, I mean, technically puts him a little bit in the lead, even though he's missing the fire rod.
I think the fire rod was just in mini Moldorm Cave, so as long as they go there eventually, it's not too bad. Hyruler is making the ultimate meta play. Just rushing Uncle, because you know that some people really like to put this off. We actually have a saying that if you haven't done the Uncle by the hour mark, you should probably do it, because if you don't do it by the hour mark, you're probably just gonna last location whatever is there. And yes, these are real boots on their feet. Overworld Glitches is the original boot start mode. Before you could do boot start in other modes, Overworld Glitches was what you did if you wanted to play with boots. Also, Hammer in Eastern for simple clips. This is pretty nice to have early. Late Hammers can be pretty terrible as well. I mean, everybody knows late Hammers are bad. It's actually just as bad in glitch modes. Because Hammer mostly locks interior locations. But it actually unlocks like fewer exterior locations in glitched, so there's just a little bit more chance that it's just in one of those dungeons that you want the hammer for.
Unfortunately for Hyrule, Uncle is not paying out today, but that is a good point that you brought up. And if the gloves are late, that's going to show what these runners know about routing the Dark World without a glove is going to be more challenging. But there's our Moon Pearl in the Eastern Palace Big Key chest, so not too awful of a location.
Yeah, it certainly could have been worse. The game could have not given them a bow. The bow has pretty much nothing to do with the front of Eastern. It's like really logically a separate thing to do the back of Eastern than the front, so game could very easily have just stuck the bow in, like, mire, and that would have been pretty bad.
Yeah, I probably would not have went anywhere near Eastern without a bow, so that's a good point.
Oh, Mirror and Zelda Cell. So Mirror is one of those things people like to wait for to do Uncle and the Escape, because you can pair it with the Dark World, including Pyramid Fairy. It's a little less common now that there's a way into the Pyramid Fairy without the mirror or the red crystals. We don't even use red crystals anymore. We just straight up don't. So, having the mirror there means that somebody else could miss out on it. Especially Simple Clips, who has found the Pearl and has better things to do than the Escape.
Well, it will be interesting to see if the mirror actually locks anything in this seed. We know it locks Swamp in this mode, but we don't know if Swamp is a pendant or not.
Yeah, that's true. And the overall locations locked by the mirror, pretty much not locked by the mirror in this mode. So unless you're missing Pearl, mirror can lock Pearl, but it's not even hard locked. It's just logically locked. You like to have the mirror for Turtle Rock and Ice Palace because of the glitch you can use to get into the back of Turtle Rock and into the front of Ice. That glitch is not in logic, but it's really convenient to use the mirror to do that. So, even if Swamp is a pendant, it's still an advantage to have it.
Yes, that's a very good point. The mirror is a really good tool for routing. And I hope we do see a mirror wrap from Hyruler. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say it's an advanced technique, but it is more involved than like a boots clip for sure. We're getting a very old style DMA from Simple Clips right now. This is the way that I saw on Super Scudge's video on YouTube that I don't do anymore, but it will get the job done if you don't get killed by boulders and dead rocks.
Yeah, it still works. Just because new glitches are found doesn't make the old glitches stop working. So if that's what you know how to do, like, by all means do it until you feel like learning something new. Speaking
And we're
of old and new
gonna...
glitches, yeah, High Roller's glitch is quite new. It was discovered last year. It's a swim clip, similar to what he did at the beginning. This one clearly skips the glove for back of escape. Swim clips are not in logic because they're new. They haven't been added yet. But it does not pay off. It looks like he has an item in Dark Cross that you can get.
Yeah, the key was in the map chest, so he's able to do this check. Yeah, hopefully he already got the map. I wasn't paying super close attention when he did the front.
I'm going to assume he knows what he's doing. I'm surprised, though, that if the key was in the front and he found the mirror, that he didn't just do Dark Cross into back like the logic would expect him to do. It's possible that finding the mirror, while having the mindset of I need to save and quit out of this because I don't have the mirror, and then realize, wait, I just found the mirror. That's very common. Like, it takes a few seconds to register items you just got and what you can do with them.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in your brain when you're racing, at least for me personally. I mean, so if you were already planning to do something, sometimes you just autopilot and do that without thinking about, new routing options opened up by an item you just obtained.
High Roller just clipped down to Graveyard Ledge in a way that I was certain was going to fail, and it didn't. So, kudos. That had looked like a soft lock, and it wasn't. Clearly, again, knows what he's doing. This is Tomb Raider. It's a new minor glitch. People like to call it inverted tech or cross keys tech, but actually we use it all the time in Overworld glitches now because it's really convenient to do King's Tomb with Graveyard Ledge. You can already clip to King's Tomb, but it's its own separate trip you have to do from a save and quit, so being able to do them together is really nice.
Yeah, I also was concerned about that Graveyard Ledge descent, but he may have just held on to the diagonal for a long time before transitioning to up to make it look a little funny. I'm not exactly sure, but it definitely did look a little funny, but he got it done successfully on the first try, so that's really good for him. So both into Hera right now.
Yeah, taking advantage of the hookshot and sword. Hera obviously is really good to have. It's not in logic, not even in the Underworld Clips version, but it is something you like to do if you can. It's going to save time in most cases. Ooh, we got like a Philly Pot from High Ruler. I thought Philly Pot was dead, but apparently not.
I just saw on the other speed gaming ALTTPR race, Andy did an ancient Hera pot, so I mean, people are doing all kinds of things still, apparently.
Okay. Don't make me feel old by calling any Hera pot ancient. That's... I remember the days before Hera pot.
I'm sorry, my mistake.
Back in my day, you had to do the title room every time Big Key was there. There was no exception.
I might as well play vanilla at that point.
Next thing you know, somebody's going to call some swim clipping method ancient, and you're going to feel old.
Well, that was a really nice swim clip from High Ruler, by the way. It's pretty precise to set that up. You can go from the bottom or the top to get to the back of escape, like between the rocks and the grave, and he did it from the bottom, which is a setup I don't know, but I know both setups are fairly precise. So
I like the bottom one. I find it fairly forgiving, actually, but yeah, it's also really easy to just soft lock if you get sloppy with it.
fair enough. I guess it just depends what you know.
There's so many clips that people just learn one way, and that becomes their way. And there's really no reason to change it, because they're all about the same speed. It's really about your consistency. That's where you're going to win races, is how consistent you are at the glitches and how well you route with them. Taking a little bit more time with one or the other isn't really going to make a difference. I mean, we saw that with the beginning of the game when High Ruler and Symbol Clips were both going to the Hobo different ways. And High Ruler's way was technically faster, but he soft-locked, so Symbol Clips got there first. And that's all it takes. A very nicely executed floating island clip. That's one that people sometimes find tricky. Getting out of it can be tricky too.
I still find it tricky sometimes to do that dash to get in bounds. But yeah, getting out on the left side is easier. The right side requires a specific input to get
Is it?
pushed the correct direction.
Oh, yeah. So Hyrule got stuck in the clouds, actually. Probably inputting the wrong direction after the clip. You do have to kick out of the collision. When you're in the collision, if you press towards it, it'll kick you out. So sometimes you have to do like a non-intuitive movement of like actually pushing towards where you don't want to be. But after a while, you get an instinct for it, and it just becomes another game mechanic.
So Simple Clip seems hesitant to start exploring the Dark World without conventional access, or perhaps just wants to get these item-dense locations remaining in the Light World.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I think in his situation, I would be in the Dark World now, but if he continues along this route, he will avoid the trap of missing mirror in the escape. It could be also that he plans to go to the Dark World from here, which is why this is why I would expect him to have gone back out of Paradox Cave, is so that he can go to the Dark World here.
Oh, could be a Dark World play right here with the hammer. Oh no, never mind. It's a descent.
It's Zora. I'm assuming
They were already over here. Oh, did they not have the money for Zora the first time?
Quite possibly. I know Hyruler did the swim clip, so definitely didn't. But probably where Hyruler is going now. What's interesting is that both of them have what the other one wants here. If you want to do Catfish and Zora together, you need the Moon Pearl and the Mirror. Each of them has one. So both of them are just going to hoof it to Zora. And miss out on the chance to do Catfish and Zora together.
Well, we get to see our lovely mountain palette on Zora's domain.
Yeah, I love this this sync from the two runners. Like, people will say like, oh, you know, Zora is so orphaned if you did the swim clip early, but there are multiple ways to get to Zora.
Quite a few, actually. You can even go there from desert, as some people, I'm sure, know, but some do not.
Yeah, Zora to desert is something that we don't see very often, but I think it's something you should keep in mind. It's an option. We often end our route in desert with a save and quit. If there's one more thing you can do, then maybe do it.
Right now we're getting the Dark World from Simple Clips. Hopefully a map check. Not yet.
Nope, and we're getting the Eastern play from Hyruler. So Hyruler will have the Mirror and the Moon Pearl going into Dark World, which is quite the advantage over not having Mirror.
Oh, this is, wow, a GT play. Well, I guess the hammer and the hook shot, and Kanan.
Simple Clips has everything for GT. This is actually pretty brilliant. Probably what's happening is Simple Clips wants to do all of this dungeon and get out of the way and hopes the mirror shows up here so he can do the escape. It's not going to, because we know where the mirror is. It's in the escape. The only way to get there is to walk or to die in GT, which might happen because when you don't have the mirror, how else are you going to get out of the right side or the left side? You either walk or you death warp. When you die in a Dark World dungeon, yeah, when you die in a Dark World dungeon in the vanilla game, the game will kick you out of the Light World. Or kick you out to the Light World, I should say, if you haven't defeated Aga 1 yet. This is a behavior that's patched in vanilla rando, or in like no glitches rando. But in all glitch modes, we restore that behavior because we do use it for things. Yeah, it's probably better for Simple Clips to not be in Tile Room right now.
Yes, the fake worlds are an interesting thing that takes getting used to in the game. I think it adds a lot leaving that vanilla behavior in the randomizer, personally. And yeah, that was an interesting experience for Simple Clips. Realizing they needed a small key.
Well, the star tile too, and like, instead of being like, oh shit, I forgot the star tile, I'm gonna go back and hit it, thought on his feet, and said I'm gonna just bonk here and not need the star tile. Big Key showed up too, which is good because tile room won't be Big Key, so you can actually make it to the big chest. He'll probably walk out of the big chest into the front and do right side, and then after right side Death Warp, hopefully. We want Simple Clips to die in here because we want Simple Clips to get kicked to the light world and do the mirror check. The problem with that though is the glove would have to show up for that to work. When you transition out of Pyramid, you are behind a glove rock to get back in, so it might not work.
Yes, I hope our very astute key logic people are paying attention and can tell us what's in tile room in case Simple Clips doesn't actually check it. As I definitely don't know the key logic of GT well enough to deduce that. Although there was a big key in Hope Room, so...
Yeah, we don't know yet. It's too early. I look for keys. Like, if we have, like, more than 2 coming out of here, I just assume tile room's not a key. If we have 2 or less... If we have 2, I just assume it's a key, but it might be a key upstairs. Or it might be... Yeah, if it's 1 key, it's almost certainly a key. I don't actually know. I just kind of have, like, hunches. Which is pretty dangerous.
Yeah, at least you're confident enough to, you know, think about it. I would usually check it to be safe, but there definitely are runners that know the logic very well, and some of them may be watching or maybe not.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about red crystals because you don't need them. Maybe Simple Clips doesn't know the swim clip. Doesn't have the mirror, so quite could come up, but Hyrule definitely has demonstrated knowledge of swim clipping and has the mirror, which is something you can use to clip in.
So this is some loaded Eastern. That rarely happens. Hammer and Moon Pearl.
What is Simple Clip saving and quitting out for? Very confused.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like a very odd thing to do.
I'm trying to think of why he wouldn't want to fight Ice Armors there. He has enough arrows, and I don't know. It's weird. I'm trying to think of why you would save and quit there. Is he in go mode? No, he needs the ice rod. He needs the glove. No, he doesn't need a glove. He needs the flippers and the mirror. He's not in go mode. He's going back. He's saving quit by accident? No, he's going down the mountain. So strange.
Yeah, I mean, well, even if he was in go mode, you still have to finish GT in this mode, so it doesn't make much sense to just bail.
Yeah, he can finish GT. He could have fought Ice Armos, gotten the items, and then walked out, got the big chest on the way out, and climbed if he didn't want to do right side. Maybe what he's thinking is, I don't have the mirror and I don't feel like death warping right side, so I'm going to actually do full right and do Ice Armos then, and then walk out.
Maybe. We'll have to ask him about it later, but they have so few hearts still, like less than 10 is not a terrible death warp, especially if you set it up beforehand.
Yeah, and he's not... He is a little bit squishy in terms of like taking damage in GT. Like this could be a dangerous climb. Maybe that's what he's thinking, is I don't want to climb yet. High Ruler is actually going to do probably the whole thing here. And has the mirror. So we'll see if anything was left behind. Simple Clips isn't a part of the game I've never seen before. What is this screen? I'm so confused. This is like an Overworld rando screen. I feel like I'm watching a ROM hack when I see someone go through this.
Definitely some interesting routing here.
Caught him there, but I don't know. I'm... So didn't do Skullwoods. Maybe meant to. Maybe you felt like if he did Skullwoods, you would die and lose his Dark World.
Yeah, I have no idea.
All right, back to more familiar territory. Full clear Thieves Town, assuming. Hammer is here. You know, we have the hammer. We have everything we need for this, so there's no reason not to do it on the way. Yeah, it looks like 2 medallions are here in GT, which it's not exactly what you want to see in a Pendant Mire Seed. Turtle Rock doesn't require medallion. You can use every entrance of Turtle Rock. And only one of them requires a medallion, so we don't care too much about it. Alright, what's High Roller gonna find in these GT checks that Simple Clips left behind? Ooh, this is a pretty dangerous hallway for Clips. I can see him checking if he has the powder to save him here, but he doesn't. High Roller actually ran out of arrows here, but yeah, it's fine. It's not an ideal fight to do this with the Master Sword. It's the worst sword, unless you have beams, for the Armos fight.
Yeah, and doing the dash poke strat is actually worse than just a regular poke in this case.
Yeah, you can be forgiven for not knowing that, though, because it's totally nonsense that it works that way. I'm gonna hazard a guess that Tile Room's a key, given that High Roller just exited the left side with 1 key. And I know that there's none in Hope Room. Oh, the big key was here. That's kind of unfortunate, because High Roller has not been able to get the big chest, and we'll have to go all the way right to get it. But also, it doesn't look like anything required was in the right side, or in the beyond Ice Armor. So if Simple Clips never goes back to GT, and there's nothing in the right side, I guess the save and quit save time?
That's quite a gamble in any case, if that is what it was, and not a mistake, but yeah. Only time will tell.
I mean, it looked like a very deliberate save and quit, but it's still possible to make the decision for reasons that we'll find out later, and have it pay off or have it not pay off. For all I know, that there was a very good reason I'm not even thinking about. Yeah, it was right about that being a key, although not necessarily being a guaranteed key. 1 key out of left side is usually Tile Room key.
Yeah, I just thought it was somewhat amusing that Simple Clips ran into the door, not realizing they didn't have a small key, and then got wall mastered out, so that was just not a good experience.
I wonder how much of it was just, I don't feel like doing Tile Room. But I still think you would do Ice Armos, and then save and quit.
Yeah, definitely. It's 3 items, pretty quick.
Alright, that was a little scary for Simple Clips, but he made it through Thieves Town without getting knocked out of the Dark World, so he can continue the Dark World route.
And we are getting a climb from High Roller.
Yeah, High Roller found nothing in the right side. But didn't do the big chest? I feel like
Did not do
yeah,
the
that
big
could
chest.
be pretty dangerous. I guess you big chest could have been a key. So maybe tile room wasn't guaranteed. Because we didn't see it. Flippers here in village. That'll be pretty easy for some high roller to get. That will put him in Ice Rod Go mode. You'd be amazed at how little gloves do in this mode. Ice Palace is the only dungeon that actually needs a glove. Everything else you can do without.
And Thieves Town being a crystal means that there's really no risk of Hyrule avoiding that area, so he'll definitely get his flippers.
I realized
Found the glove. Oh.
Okay. It's good that High Ruler had a mirror, because that would have been a pain. But I think that means that Simple Clips might have had a fairy too, and I was worried for nothing in Thieves Town.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, there is shenanigans to get to Ice Palace, but there's actually a big white rock on the way to Cold Stair, blocking your way. So, you know, you've all heard of hammerless Ice Palace, but gloveless Ice Palace is exactly the same. Like, everything that's locked by hammer is also locked by a glove. There's also glove locking in the H-shaped room. The one near Icebreaker.
You know, speaking of shenanigans to get to ice, the flippers actually put Ice Palace in logic right now.
They do. But you're not going to do it, right? It's a pendant and you don't have a glove.
No, certainly not, but
that's not going to stop the game from putting something. The ice rod could just be sitting there in Pengator. You can last location it. Okay, Clip is doing Clip to Meyer, which is just probably just finishing out the route here. We've been having some stream freezes, at least on our end, so I'm not sure what came up in Hype Cave for Simple Clips. I'd expect Pod to be a good play. You can do Pod from all the normal directions you might expect, but also you can do it from Catfish. So you can do Mountain into Catfish using a similar clip that they used to get to Zora, and then you can clip down to Pod. And Pod is probably the last bastion of, like, full clearable crystal that we have. After that, Turtle Rock is pretty good, because you can get back to Trinex pretty easily, so doing it without the Ice Rod is not really a big deal. Okay, we've got clips on Death Mountain. You can do Hookshot Cave without a glove, because Hookshot Cave has 2 entrances and only one of them has a rock over it. Nice triple from High Ruler and Agatu. So High Ruler, ironically, has the mirror, allowing him to do the escape after this. Has already done it. And Simple Clips does not have that ability. So that mirror could be quite troublesome. I predicted that's going to be the big decider in this race, but you never know. Could be that Simple Clips chases something that leads to the Ice Rod while High Ruler full clears Swamp Palace. Mirror Go Mode can be nice because it can make Ice Palace, or it can make Swamp Palace Go Modable. Simple Clips is showing us how you get to Hookshot Cave. High Ruler is about to do a swim clip. Pyramid Fairy. The logical way to do this is with the mirror. High Ruler got a little bit knocked off course there. I think it would have been fine, but the rule of thumb is if you have progress under your belt and something goes wrong with the glitch, you should just save and quit, because you can lose all your progress by hard locking the game if you do something wrong.
Yeah, that was probably salvageable, but if you aren't confident in it, you probably do want to save and quit.
Where is Clips going? Clips soft locked, I think, trying to get to Hookshot Cave, so might be giving it another go. High Ruler taking an interesting route down the mountain. Of course, hasn't done any of the Dark World yet, so probably going to see a pretty simple route that ends at Pyramid Fairy rather than starting at it, which is what he was doing before. Skull Woods is an option, it's a pendant, so I can see why you would skip it. Shovel up there, yeah, you gotta get that because it could be leading to an item. Simple Clips didn't really have a good way to check that, but High Ruler will have the mirror coming down to Stumpy, so... Yeah, the mirror is really nice.
I would not be surprised to see Skullwoods get skipped. Skullwoods, pendant Skullwoods in a non-key sanity mode it's just really gross. Like, there's so many checks that aren't items.
Simple Clips has presumably already done Super Bunny Cave. Gave up on Hookshot Cave and has chosen to do Pod. Well, Catfish instead, maybe Pod. Ooh, High Ruler's doing one of the newest clips known. One of our mentors, Don Vender, discovered this right before the tournament started. It's just a nice way to get to Hammer Pigs from this side. It's the fastest way that isn't just lifting the rock, which I can't do because they don't have any gloves, let alone two. And because that hook shot clip that gets you out is available, if you have the hook shot, you can pop in here, get the item, and then pop out again and continue your route. Didn't have that option before. You used to have to end your route here.
Actually picking up the heart piece is a tiny bit surprising. I guess with green armor, maybe that's what he was thinking.
Simple Clips is having a little trouble with the Zora and his looks like gone for the nuclear option of Bombos Medallion. High Roller will be picking up flippers here, and Swamp Palace will be available at the end of Hype Cave, so that's good for him. If Swamp Palace is empty, though, then this could actually be a gain for Simple Clips. It looks like Simple Clips doesn't know the clip to pod, so he's just gonna walk down. That's fine. The clip is very... It's very
I've never
optional.
done that clip in my. I've never done that clip in my life, and
yeah.
I've played all kinds of glitched modes. So,
well, we don't do that clip in. Oh, we're just not going to pod. Okay, we don't do that clip in HMG usually because you can get there from the inside.
Oh, that's a good point. Hey, there.
Simple clips also demonstrating proficiency at the swim clipping. This is interesting for him because it's apparently not in logic. I told our tracker to ignore red crystals, but it can help to know it's in logic if the mirror doesn't show up. Like if you find the mirror in here, you'll know that the red crystals were required, and you can look at them to see what, you know, if it's worth following the mirror. It could show whether swamp has, you know, your ice rod in it or not. But it was empty, so it didn't matter. Okay, this is our pod play. So pyramid into pod. It orphans hammer pegs, but that's okay because it was nothing.
Yeah, hammer pegs is a really gross check, even with the new clip. I mean, that new clip makes it like doable in my opinion.
I think it's pretty nice with the new clip. But back when you had to like swim across the river to get to it for the pyramid, and then save and quit because you were stuck. You still have to do that sometimes, but it's kind of dictates your route a lot more than you would want. We like to have flexibility. We'd like to be able to continue on rather than save and quit because we've trapped ourselves somewhere.
Yeah, there are times you won't always have the hook shot though, so you would still get trapped even if you enter from the left, but this such was not the case today.
What if I told you you could swim clip out?
Yeah, that's a good point. You're right.
It's slow.
That would require learning the other swim clip, which we did not see today from these two runners.
Did High Ruler not use the other swim clip for Ice Rod Cave? I think he did.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it then. That was right at the start.
It was, yeah.
Okay,
you weren't able to watch at the time. But yeah, High Roller did open with the Ice Rod clip. I really want to see Ice Rod show up here in Pod. Because I want to see this to be one of those races where both runners have a different go mode item. That always makes it really interesting.
Well, with the hammer and the bow, I can't imagine High Ruler will avoid it for long. We'll see, though.
But it also would make sense for High Ruler to full clear Swamp on the way because it's there. And because getting back here is kind of hard when you don't have a glove.
So far, nothing in pod. Oh, is it really just the Ice Rod? That's all we're looking for right now?
I mean, High Ruler is looking for the Ice Rod. Simple Clips is looking for that and the mirror. But if you think about it, I mean, the only other item they're missing is the glove, right? And they don't need it for ice, so... Pretty straightforward, just Ice Rod hunt. But you know how Ice Rod hunts can be. It's straightforward is not how I would describe them.
Well, and knowing this randomizer, the Ice Rod could also be glove locked.
It could. There's not that much behind the glove, though. It's a few isolated locations. It's 2, or logically 3 things in Ice Palace. Spike Cave, Checkerboard Cave.
Blacksmith and Purple Chest as well.
Yeah. You can do those without the glove, but nobody's actually going to do it. Like, you're just going to keep full clearing until you find both gloves, and then you'll go there. Well, that's interesting. So Simple Clips didn't have the mirror here, so couldn't actually check Sick Kid when he was here. It is a glove. Glove is it could be bait, it could be required, it could be convenient. So yeah, who knows? I don't know what to think about that glove. I don't know if I would be happy or not to see that.
I think that High Ruler will probably check Checkerboard Cave soon. Simple Clips has both invincibility items, and High Ruler has none.
Catfish is one of them, but I didn't catch where the burner was. Simple Clips has a very good amount of health for being in pod without a mirror. Oh no! While we were getting some kind of technical difficulty fixed, apparently Simple Clips got a full heal from the big chest. Or had a fairy in a pocket. I'm not actually sure which. The 7 hearts makes me think it was a fairy. Yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah, everyone's done it though. If you haven't fairy revived while trying to death warp, you haven't played enough rando.
Yeah, the classic. And it looks like we are not going to find out what is on the shovel today, at least not yet.
Well, I'll just have to keep an eye on their inventory to see if our ruler has a menu to an ice rod or goes to Turtle Rock and just has it. It's unlikely though. He does have the ice rod. I'm pretty sure I saw an ice rod. So that would be go mode, and we'll see High Ruler go moding Swamp if that's the case. Alright, so I'm going to assume that it was the shovel that led to the ice rod. Given what we saw from High Ruler, or what we saw from Simple Clips, was pretty much everything but the shovel. I'm pretty sure I saw an ice rod in the menu too. I think it's pretty clear that we're in go mode here. This is pretty bad for clips though, because getting to the shovel without the mirror is pretty bad, and getting to Hyrule Castle without the mirror is almost worse. Turtle Rock, I'd be going to just more